So we'll be doing a like a yin yang style practice today, which I consider slightly different than like a Vin Yin. Usually when I teach like a Vin to Yin class, oh my gosh, there's a massive squirrel out here. Sorry. Anyway, when I teach a Vin Yin, often we'll do like, 40 minutes, 45 minutes of vinyasa, and then the rest will be yin. Today will be a little different. We're going to alternate these sort of strengthening yoga drills or, yoga, sorry, and balancing that with those longer, stretchier poses within the practice. So that being said, for those deeper stretches, hey Joe, if you would like to grab any props, that might be helpful. It's not necessary. Again, you can, we can modify without props. I know that not everybody has yoga props at home, but blankets, pillows, those are always great stand-ins. So I'll walk you through that. I have a blanket, I have a bolster. I don't think I'll use it today, just for the sake of, not everybody has one. So, yeah. So happy Saturday morning. All right, so we'll start in Shavasana this morning. So lying flat on your backs, you're welcome to keep the knees bent or just come into a shape that feels supported for you. If you want to take a blanket or that pillow, if you have that, take that under your head or under the knees to support the back. You're welcome to do that. And yeah, so just start lying down. Let's get going. And as you start to come to your mats, start to make your way down onto the back. Just take this moment at the beginning of your practice to come to that place of rest. Come to a place of ease. Sometimes it feels nice when you lay down just to get the wiggles out. As I, tell the kids, get the wiggles out first before you've got to sort of settle in. It applies to us as adults as well. So, not shaking it out per se, but just finding some easeful movements, maybe just moving the head from side to side really gently on the mat. You can bend the knees and sort of windshield wiper them from side to side if that would feel good. Maybe just like a wall-to-wall stretch. Stretch it out. And then come into that easeful resting pose. Let's just take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, just to help us arrive a bit deeper to start our practice. So breath in through the nose. Nice full deep breath, really filling up the entire belly into the chest and lungs. And then open the mouth and just sigh it out. Sigh away the weak. Breath in through the nose. Nice big sigh out. One more time, full breath in. And then completely sighing it out. Just letting yourself let go. And then bring the breath back into its normal rhythm. Feeling that soft intake of breath in through the nose. And that gentle expel of air out through the nose. Really starting to tune into the breath. Noticing the breath pattern, noticing the quality of the breath this morning. If you're like me and you're dealing with some allergies, grass pollen is out, and maybe it feels a little strained, but hopefully not. But just noticing what it's feeling like this morning and what it's feeling like in relation to the body. Maybe where can I feel the breath the most right now? Because sometimes that changes. Just stay here for a few more rounds of breath. Thanks, Joe. You too. And then as you start to let yourself sink into this easeful pose, take a moment to decide why you're here. So our practice, like I said, will focus on that balance, alternating between that yin, that yang, that movement and stillness. And so maybe as you move today, and even coming off of your mat and into the rest of your weekend, you can begin to notice within your own practice, within your life, how you can begin to find the balance between the two. For me, I am totally guilty of, saying, yes, I'll do this, and yes, I need to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and not always finding rest. So it's a really, especially right now, I feel like it's a really good thing to sort of balance. And we could all use a little extra balance in our lives, but really making that space for yourself to find those times of movement or times of doing, of busy, and balancing that out with those times of stillness. And what can happen in those times of stillness when you allow it to come in. So take another couple breaths here. If you'd like to take another wall-to-wall stretch, go ahead, take that, take the arms over the head, and just reach all the way from the fingertips down to the toes. Like you're reawakening the body. And then go ahead and gather the knees into the chest. Give them a nice little hug. Maybe rock from side to side. Just some gentle movements if you want to take the knees, and some circles moving in one direction and then the other. Just making sure that you even out the sides. So if you go 3 circles in one direction, I always like to go 3 circles in the other. And then when you're ready, place the feet back down on the mat. Knees are still bent here. They're about hips width distance apart. And you may be able to reach down with the fingertips and just brush the backs of the heels. That may not be available, that's totally okay. But we're starting to press the feet into the mat. Arms are alongside the body. Press into the hands. And with your next in-breath, go ahead and press into the heels. Begin to peel the back body from the mat, starting with the tailbone, then the waist, and then into the upper back. And then when you begin to exhale, slowly reverse that. Placing everything back down on the mat. Inhale, press into the feet, press into the hands, lift the hips, slowly pressing them up towards the sky. Maybe you come a little bit higher at the top of that inhale, and then exhale, slowly lower it back down. So this third one, you're welcome to keep the arms pressing into your mat as you lift the hips, or you can start to take them over the head, adding a little bit more movement to this bridge pose. And then as you exhale, release the arms, the hips, meet the mat. Try to meet them at the same time. Keep that movement going. Inhaling, lift and open. Exhale, back down. Let's take a couple more just like that. Moving the body here. Exhale down. Last one, inhale, lift, rise. Exhale, lower it down. Gather the knees back into the chest. And start to press the low back into your mat. Okay, and when you do that, you'll start to feel the belly turn on here, activating the core. And then draw the forehead up towards the knees. So you're hugging yourself into a tight little ball here. And then keep the right knee hugged in, send the left leg long. You're welcome to keep the heel on the mat to take away some of the intensity of this core work, or you can leave that left heel hovering down, really pressing the low back down. Breath in, breath out, we'll switch. Left knee in, right leg long. Switch, inhale. Exhale, switch. Left knee in. And just take these moments with your breath. So move with your own breath pattern here. Keep pressing the low back down into your mat as the belly draws towards the spine. So you're hugging everything in towards the earth here. If you want to really add a little more intensity, you can take the hands behind the head, keeping it lifted. Breathing in and out. With each movement, it follows the breath. So this is our yang part here. Warming up our core. Take one more on each side here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Knees come back into the chest. Head reaches down, back to the mat. And then we'll take the arms and legs and just spread them wide, coming into a star pose. So the arms and legs are reaching towards each corner of the mat. Let yourself take up space here. Sometimes we try to confine ourselves into these little shapes, into these little spaces. Even in yoga, right? Like feel like we have to be contained on our mat, but just spread it out. Take a second here, spread out. Keeping the hips right where they are, so they're not going to move. We're gonna just pick up the head and move it over towards your right arm so that upper body moves over. And then you can take the left arm to join the right. Maybe you clasp hands or elbows or forearms, starting to arch through the upper left side. And then you can take the left leg and let it meet your right. So we're now in this sort of banana shape, Bananasana, as it's called. You might like to cross the legs at the ankles. It doesn't matter which. Maybe take a second to sort of play around, see which ankle feels better crossing over. But again, our limbs have moved, but our hips have stayed as they are. The hips are still facing up towards the sky. We're just stretching out that left side body for a moment here. Coming into the yin side. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and take the arms wide once again, coming back to that star pose. Moving the upper body towards the center of your mat. And we'll move to the other side. So the head lifts, taking it towards that left arm. And then we'll cross the right leg over the left, or maybe the left over the right, but joining the legs over at this other corner of the mat. You can clasp wrists or elbows or whatever it is that might feel good for you.
to deepen that stretch. So that's all we're aiming for, is a nice big stretch for the right side body now. So whatever it is that you need to do to get there, that's what you need to take. Take one more breath in this banana pose. And then on your exhale, take yourself back into star pose. Reach the limbs long, stretch it out. And then you can start to make your way up. So if you want to rock and roll your way up, you're welcome to do that. Or just make your way all the way onto hands and knees from here. Okay? So coming into a tabletop pose, bringing shoulders over the wrists with the fingers spread nice and wide as we press into the fingertips. Then the shoulders are over the knees. Let's give that spine a little more opening here with a cat-cow. So take an inhale, take the head up, soften the belly as you lift the hips. Feel that nice openness through the front of the chest, and then exhale, press into the palms. Draw the chin to the chest, round the back. Inhale, heart pulls forward, gaze up. Exhale, back rounds, finding your cat pose. Really spreading the shoulder blades apart from one another, finding that stretch for the upper back. Take a couple more rounds of that cat-cow. Move at your own pace here. Okay? If you want to add any other movements, you can maybe take the hips from side to side or whatever might feel good here. And then as your body feels ready, we'll take the hands and just walk them out a couple of inches. Keep pressing into the fingertips. Toes curl under. Press into the palms. Hips reach for the sky. And we'll come into our first downward facing dog. So the knees can stay bent here as you reach the tailbone up. Maybe you take a moment to walk out the legs, bending one knee and then the other. Or again, just whatever movement your body needs to work its way here, because we will be holding here eventually for a few breaths. And then start to make your way into stillness here, pressing fingertips to mat, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Draw the belly up towards the spine so you can find a little bit of core action here. And the knees can stay soft. They don't have to be completely straight, but we'll reach the heels down towards the mat. Take a breath in through the nose. Nice big breath out through the mouth. Breathe in. And out. So we're still doing a lot of work here, right? But take a moment to, even in this work, see where you can find stillness. Take one more round of breath here in dog pose. And a breath out. And let's start to add a little bit of movement here. So on your next breath in, we're gonna bend our knees, lowering them almost all the way down to the mat. Let them hover about an inch or two up. Take the gaze forward a bit. So we're in like a hovering table. And then as you exhale, use the core muscles to bring the hips back high, coming back into your downward facing dog. Okay? So let's start to move with the breath between that hovering table and your dog pose. Take an inhale. Lift the heels a bit higher as you lower the knees. Hover them on the mat. Gaze forward. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower the knees. Feel that core. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lower. Hovering table. Exhale, press into the fingertips. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lower. Exhale, downward facing dog. Let's do, let's say 3 more. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Heels reach down. Down dog. Inhale. Hovering table. Feel that core. Exhale. Downward facing dog. One more. Inhale, lower. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, so this is the last one for real. Inhale, lower the knees. And we're gonna stay here. Keep breathing in this hovering table. Keep the knees hovering. Keep pressing palms to the earth. Try not to let the heart sag. Lift the chest. Keep the belly drawing towards spine. Take one more breath in. And on your breath out, lower the knees gently to your mat. Uncurl the toes, send the hips back towards the heels and arrive in a child's pose. You can keep the arms extended, or it might feel nice since we've been on our hands a lot to go ahead and take the arms alongside the legs, the palms facing up, and that will give the shoulders a little bit more respite, okay? If the head doesn't quite meet the mat, you can take a block or a blanket underneath it, or even just stack fists and take the forehead right on top there. Take a few breaths here in this child's pose. That was a lot of work there for a moment, so allow yourself the opportunity to come into this stillness here and start to notice what happens. Notice how the body is feeling. Notice after all those movements and after all of that core work, notice the quality of the breath now. And allow this time of rest to be a time of joy, right? Not like, ugh. And that's okay, those feelings are absolutely valid, but maybe you can think of it as, okay, this is time. This is time and space for me to breathe for a moment and find the joy in that. So take a couple more rounds in this child's pose, breathing fully. And then begin to take the arms long once again, extending them out. And then lifting the body. We'll curl the toes under, arriving back in that downward facing dog just for a moment here. Keep the knees nice and soft as you take the gaze between the palms and just walk the feet up the mat, bringing them behind the wrists. And just take a moment in this forward fold. Knees can stay bent. We'll come back to this pose in a moment. On your inhale, come up halfway. Press the feet to the earth. Find a flat back. Reach the crown of the head forward. Belly is drawn in. Almost like you're pressing the back into the mat, like the beginning of class. Pretend like the earth is underneath or above the back, I guess it would be right now. Pretend like it's there and press it up slightly so that you can flatten out the curve of the low back. And then soften the knees once again, forward fold. Root into the feet. On your inhale, begin to rise all the way up to stand. Take the palms over the head. And then we'll draw them into our heart center. Pressing thumbs into the heart space. Being thankful, finding some gratitude on this Memorial Day weekend. And then coming into your Tadasana, release the hands. Feet are parallel. Maybe they're closer together, or maybe they're about hips distance apart. Draw the tailbone down towards the hamstrings. Broaden through the collarbones. Take a moment here. Reconnect to that why. What brings you to your mat today? And then we'll inhale, scoop the arms up over the head. Exhale, right arm releases down, left arm over the ear. Find that side body stretch. Inhale, upright. Arms reach high. Exhale, left arm down, right arm over the head. Inhale, both arms reach high. Exhale, bend the elbows, lift the heart space. So draw the elbows back slightly
The tailbone is still pressing down into the hamstrings and we're just lifting the chest. Inhale, fingertips reach high. And then exhale, we'll bend the knees, send the hips back, come right into a chair pose, belly still drawn in here. Beautiful, take a breath in. And a breath out, release it, forward fold.
Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Bend the knees, plant the palms, step or hop your way to plank pose. Take a breath in here. Exhale, lower the knees down.
And then we'll bend the elbows as they hug in towards the rib cage to come all the way down to the belly. Uncurl the toes. Press the tops of the feet down. Elbows hug in towards the side body. Take a breath in as you lift the head, the neck, the heart. Just come in for a little baby cobra. And then exhale, lower it down. Curl the toes under, press into the hands. Make your way maybe through table or through plank to come into your downward facing dog.
One breath here. Inhale and exhale.
Gaze between the palms, step. Maybe you hop your way up towards the top of your mat. Take an inhale to lift halfway. Exhale to fold.
Inhale, root the feet down as you rise strong.
And we're coming right into the next one. Exhale, right hand releases, left arm over the head, side stretch. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, leaning over to the left. Inhale, fingers reach high. Exhale, elbows bend, pressing them back, opening your heart space. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, sit low, chair pose. Spiral the pinkies in towards one another. Beautiful. Take a breath in and out. One more time, breathing in and out to release.
Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, plant the palms, step or hop down to plank pose here. Take a breath in. Maybe you lower the knees once again to come to your belly, or you can keep them lifted and lower all the way down to the belly this time.
Uncurl the toes. We'll rise up once again, pressing into the palms. Find your cobra pose. Maybe you come up a little bit higher or not. Okay, so this is your practice, so whatever feels best in your body. And then exhale, lower it down. Curl the toes. Find your downward facing dog as you lift the hips high.
One breath here. Inhale. Exhale.
Gaze between the palms. Step or hop your way up.
Take an inhale, lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand.
One more time. And then exhale. Last round through here. Leaning to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, lean to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, open, shine that heart space. Inhale, lengthen up. Exhale, chair pose. All right, so we're gonna hold this for a couple of breaths. So breathing in and out. Maybe you're able to get the hips a little bit lower. Breathing in and out. Spiral those pinkies in towards one another. That will help drop the shoulder blades down the back a bit more. Breathe in and out. Last one here. Breathe in. Breathe out. Forward fold.
This time we're going to hang out here in this forward fold. If you want to heel toe your feet a little bit wider, you can do that. And then just allow the knees to soften enough so that you can rest your belly here. So let this be a place of rest for you. Let the head hang heavy. Try to even the weight out between the balls of the feet and the heels. Okay, so we don't want too much weight to be in the heels because we won't feel a stretch in the backs of the legs. And you don't want the weight to be too much in your toes because you don't want to topple forward. All right. So just let the head hang heavy. If you want to bind the arms, you can clasp elbows. You can sway, whatever might worked for you this morning. Take one more breath in this fold. Exhale it out. Release a bind if you have it. Inhale, go ahead and lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, plant the palms, step or hop, plank pose, and move through your version of a vinyasa. So knees down or not. And you're welcome to come back onto the belly for that cobra pose, or if it's available right now, you can shift forward, lower halfway for Chaturanga Dandasana. And then inhale, open to cobra or an up dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. Breath in here, inhale. And exhale. Walk the hands back towards the toes. And then heel toe the feet about as wide as your mat. Let the toes face out, heels face in. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, bend the knees, lower the hips towards the heels, coming down into that little yogi squat or malasana pose. So sometimes this doesn't feel very available. Maybe our heels kind of pop up. If that's the case, you can roll the mat. I really like this trick because it doesn't require extra pops. You can roll the mat, and that will lift. That will give you a little bit of lift for your heels, especially if they're, if they're popping up from the mat. You can place a blanket underneath that. You can also take, if you have one, a block or even a pillow or blanket and use it as like a little stool. And just sit right down. I love this version as well. So, however you're taking this malasana pose, if it's available, take the palms together, really press them in. Maybe use the elbows to help the knees open a bit wider. You can turn the corners of the mouth up and enjoy this Saturday morning practice. Or whenever it is you're practicing, if you're checking out the replay. Take one more breath in and breath out. Release the hands down to your mat. Lift the hips high. Heel toe the feet back in towards one another. Take an inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Soften the knees a bit. Walk the hands forward, coming back into that downward facing dog once again. On your next inhale, we'll shift forward, finding a plank pose. So shoulders come over the wrists. Belly is drawn in. Feeling strong here, palms press into the earth. On your next inhale, we'll bend the knees. So we're not coming into that hovering table. I like to call it a plank squat. So we'll bend the knees and send the hips towards the heels. So my arms are extended almost like I'm gonna lower into child's pose. All right, so I have this nice long line from the fingertips towards the tailbone, but my knees are not lowering down, okay? And then on your exhale, launch forward right back into your plank, okay? We'll do that a few times. You'll start to say hello to your quads. All right, so inhale, hips shift back towards the heels, arms extend long. Maybe we'll call it a hovering child's pose. That's a good one. Okay, hovering child's pose, I like that. Inhale. And then exhale, shift forward, plank pose. Inhale, press it back. Belly's still strong here. Exhale, forward to plank. Two more. Inhale, press back. Exhale, plank. Inhale, find that hovering child's pose. And then exhale, plank pose. Inhale for plank. Exhale, hips high. Find your downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg reaches up and back. Exhale, we'll step the right foot to the outside of the right pinky. Okay, so take a moment here. I kind of like to rock back and forth. Let the hips settle into this. You're welcome to keep the back knee lifted. Like this may feel nice for you. This may feel like a pretty good stretch. I like to lower my knee and uncurl my back toes. Okay, personal choice here. Take a moment with the toes tracking towards the top of your mat and your knee pressing in towards the shoulder. It doesn't have to actively press, like hug it in, but we're just not opening it up right now. Okay, so take a moment here. And you can stay here. This is where I am this morning. My body says, you're good. All right, so take a minute, tune in. What does your body need? If it needs to drop down onto elbows, you're welcome to do that. If you have those blocks, drop down maybe onto forearms onto the blocks, okay? So while this is a really intense, deep stretch, see if you can take a moment here just to be still. Feel that nice stretch for the left thigh into that left hip flexor. You may feel a stretch into that right hip as well. But just find some stillness. Unclench the jaw. Maybe you've started tightening through the jaw or the neck. See if you can soften those areas of the body. And just let yourself sink here. Let yourself be. And so a couple of options here as we stay for the next few breaths. You can stay wherever you are. If you would like to come into a bind, you can take the palms back to the earth and then start to let that right knee open up, coming on to the outer edge of that right foot. So you'll feel an even deeper opening of the right hip, which maybe you want right now, okay? You may decide this is totally enough for you. If you want to come into the full bind, you can start to bend the left knee, drawing the left heel up towards the bum. And then we'll take that arm, reaching it up towards the sky, circling it around, and then see what you can find back there. Maybe you grab your pant leg, maybe it's your heel, maybe it's the toes, whatever is available. So just coming into a lizard that works for you this morning, right? This may not work for you. I want you to find what feels best in your own body. Right? This is your practice. This is your moment of stillness. So finding a place that you can find that stillness and really let yourself sink into that, that's where you need to be. Take one more breath. If you've come into that bind, release it. We'll all bring the palms back to the earth. Right foot comes down to your mat. And then we'll start to lift the left knee, sweep the right leg up and back, and then release it down. Shake out the hips. And let's do the other side. Here we go. Inhale, shift forward, find your plank. Exhale, hips reach towards the heels. Find that little hovering child's pose. Arms are extended long. Long spine here. Inhale, forward to plank. Press fingertips down. Exhale, hips reach back, hovering child. Inhale, forward. Exhale, hover. Inhale, forward. Plank pose. Belly is strong. Exhale. Hovering child's, hover those knees. Last one. Inhale, forward. Exhale, hips reach towards the heels. Long spine. Inhale, forward. Exhale in plank pose. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to reach the left leg up. Exhale, step the left foot to the outside of the left pinky this time. Again, taking a moment here, maybe rocking back and forth. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe you're ready to go ahead and lower the knee down. And maybe uncurl the toes. Take a moment here. So
slowly enter into these poses,
especially these really deep postures.
Again, you can stay right here. You can drop down onto elbows. You can take a block underneath the forearms if that's available. A pillow can work here. A couple of pillows would be really great.
And then let yourself sink into that stillness. Let yourself find the breath once again. And just beginning to notice. Notice if you've gathered tension anywhere in the body that needs to be released. The face, the shoulders, somewhere else. Notice if your body's ready for something different. If you want to come into that bind. If you choose that option, make your way back onto the hands. And that left knee can start to open up. Again, this is a really fun option. I really like this if I just need a little bit of opening through that left hip. Maybe just allowing myself to stay here. Or if you want to come into that bind, you can bend the right knee. Heel comes in towards the body. Left arm circles around to grab whatever it is you can grab as the chest opens up here. So settling into your version of lizard. Again, noticing what can happen when you allow yourself the time and the space to settle into that stillness. Take a couple more rounds of breath. If you've bound, go ahead and release. We'll take the hands back to your mat, bringing the left foot down once again. Begin to lift the right knee from the earth. And we can sweep the left leg up and back. Give it a little stretch. And then release it back down. Take a couple breaths in your dog pose. We've got one more little section and then we'll take a few more extra little deep stretches here at the end of class. On your next inhale, we'll take the right leg up. If you want to let it open up, maybe bend the knee, give the hip a little extra stretch, you can do that. It might feel nice. And then square the hips once again, reach the heel towards the back wall for a three-legged. Take a breath in. On your breath out, shift forward, draw the knee into the nose. Inhale, press back. Exhale, right knee taps the left elbow. Inhale, press back, three-legged. Exhale, right knee taps the right elbow. Inhale, press back. Exhale, this time we'll take the right knee and set it down behind the right wrist. Okay? The right foot comes behind the left wrist, like you're coming into pigeon, but we're coming into deer pose. Okay? So go ahead and flop down on that right hip, and then bring the right shin parallel to the top of your mat, and then bring the left shin parallel to the long edge of your mat. Okay, so you've got these two almost 90-degree angles for your legs. Okay? And then turn the body so that the chest faces towards the top of your mat as well. Flex the feet here. They don't have to be active, but it's just flex them slightly. Take a breath in. And on your breath out, you can start to fold over that right leg. Maybe you come down just a bit and your right hip starts to say, hi, this is good. Right? You'll find that point. Maybe you can come down to elbows. Maybe you can come all the way down. Maybe stacking hands and taking the forehead right on top.
If you do that and you don't feel any sensations, play around. Maybe it would change things for you if you walked the hands and took the chest more over the knee versus the shins. So walking the hands over to the right side a bit. Maybe that would deepen it or change it for you. And then just begin to breathe into those tight spaces. Into any areas that might need a little extra attention. One more breath. If you've come over to the side, make your way back to center. Plant the palms, press yourself up. We'll take the left leg back behind you. Curl the toes under, lift the knee. And then we'll step that right foot back into a downward facing dog. If you need to give it a little stretch, give it a little stretch. Let's do the other side. Inhale the left leg up this time. If you want to find that little stretch, you can. Maybe bending the knee, opening the hip. And then square the hips once again. Heel reaches towards the back wall. Take a breath in. And breath out. Shift forward. Knee comes into the nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Press the heel back. Exhale, left knee taps the right elbow. Cross it over. Inhale, press it back. Exhale, left knee taps the left elbow. Inhale, press back. Exhale, this time we'll set the left knee down behind the left hand, setting the left foot behind the right wrist. That's a lot of left and rights. And then just take a moment, flop down over on that left hip. Situate the legs, bringing them to those 90-ish degree angles. It's okay if you're kind of falling over to the left side. I am too. Okay. Take a moment. Let the feet flex here. Breathe in. Lengthen up through the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, you can start to fold over that left shin. Okay. And just coming to a place where you feel a nice stretch. So you might feel that stretch to the outer left hip. You might start to feel some sensations in the inner right thigh. If you feel no sensations here as you lower down, take a moment to explore, right? Explore the pose. Maybe if you, again, walk your hands over to the left here, bringing the chest more over the thigh or the knee, maybe that deepens sensation for you. Maybe it's the opposite way. So take a moment, explore that sensation. Round of breath in your deer. Start to bring your palms back to the mat, pressing yourself upright. And we'll extend the right leg behind you, curl the toes under. And from here, we'll actually drop down onto our elbows. We're going to do something a little bit different. So come onto the elbows. Palms can either be on the mat with the forearms parallel. I like to clasp my hands together and press the pinky side of my hands down. So up to you. The shoulders are directly over the elbows here. And then when you're ready, you can send the left leg back to meet your right. And we're in a forearm plank. So this is our last of our little strengthening portions here. So keep pressing elbows down into the mat as the heart lifts up. Keep the gaze down so that the back of the neck stays long. Draw the belly in. Press the tailbone down into the hamstrings. Activate the legs here.
feel really strong. Enjoy that strength that your body has. Take one more breath in. On your breath out, go ahead and lower the knees down. And curl the toes and start to melt the thighs, the hips, the belly to the mat, staying up on the elbows. If you've clasped the hands, go ahead and release them. Palms come back to the mat. And we're right into a Sphinx pose. Taking a final back bend here. Press into the elbows, lift the chest a bit further, and then begin to open and broaden through the collarbones by drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Feeling nice and regal here. Take a few more breaths. And then slowly begin to release the chest back down to the mat. Take the hands underneath the shoulders, press yourself up. And then we'll just swing the legs around in front of you, coming all the way onto the bum. So a couple of options. I think we're kind of running short on time here. Let's go ahead and just take it down. Scooch that bum up. Come onto the back. I want you guys to get a full class here. And then just hug the knees into the chest. And that hugging will counter that little back bend we had in Sphinx pose. Okay. You can rock from side to side. I've said this before, but Instagram will just cut you off at like an hour. So I want to make sure we get a full practice in today. And then take the arms nice and wide. We'll just allow the legs to fall over to the right side of your mat, finding a little twist here. You can stack the knees. If it would feel good, you can extend the top leg. And just aim to keep both shoulders connected with the earth here, so that you get this lovely broadening through the chest while finding that rotation of the spine. Or maybe you glance over the left shoulder. Take everything back to center and move on to the other side, releasing legs over to the left. Both shoulders stay connected and grounded into the earth. Maybe you decide to extend that top leg, maybe not. You can gaze over the right shoulder. Everything back to center. And we'll take both feet down to the mat. And then go ahead and draw the soles of the feet together. Allow the knees to fall wide. Coming into a reclined cobbler's pose. If you need some support underneath the legs, if you have those blankets or pillows, you can place those there, or blocks. And then maybe you take the arms over the head to really allow yourself to open up. Or just come to a shape here that would feel restful for you. Start to make your way back into that feeling from the top of the class of that ease, that rest. Of that stillness. And you're welcome to finish off the class here in that cobbler shape. Or if you'd like to come into a more traditional Shavasana, you can draw the knees in towards one another, extend them long, and just take the arms alongside the body. Returning from where we started from. And when you've arrived in that final resting shape, notice. Notice once again how you feel in this stillness. Notice once again how your breath moves. And see how heavy you can allow the body to be. How heavy can you allow it to sink down into the earth below you? Let's take a final breath together in through the nose. And a nice gentle sigh out through the mouth. And just allow yourself to remain in that stillness. So if you are here, I invite you to stay a bit longer and enjoy that quiet, that stillness, and let it in. And come back to this feeling, this space whenever you need it. I invite you to take that time for yourself as you need it. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you all enjoyed this Saturday morning's class. Let me know what you thought in the comments. Let me know suggestions if you have any requests. Otherwise, thank you so much gratitude for you for joining me. Have a fantastic weekend. Namaste, my friends.